In the fall of 2020, I was at a crossroads. I had been in direct sales for 30 years, and I had gotten my master's in marriage and family therapy, and I needed to find a different direction than direct sales, something I'd done for 30 years. I had been a leader in 3 different companies over those 30 years. I'd been in the top 5% of the companies, and I had enjoyed the time. What I enjoyed most was helping people develop, helping the women that were on my team, the men and women on my team develop. That was what I really, really loved about it. But I was at that point in the fall of 2020 needing some clarity and some direction in which way should I be going? What should I be doing next in my path, in my life? And so my question to you is, have you ever found yourself at a crossroads? Have you ever needed some clarity and some direction, and maybe try to find that direction looking within? Try to find that direction by, spending some time with yourself, thinking about things and looking at the pros and the cons, and then maybe even looking outside of yourself to try to find some of those answers. So that's where I was when human design came into my life. Human design is a synthesis of the Kabbalah, the I Ching, the chakra system, and astrology. And so it had come into my life, and I want to just kind of let you all know, I'm a Christian. I was born and raised Catholic, went to Catholic school. I'm a Christian. I follow God. And so while human design came into my life and I got my human design chart, which is done by your birth date, your birth time, and your birthplace. And I had a human design reading by someone who had been studying and teaching human design at that point for about 16 years. And she was really good. She knew what she was doing. By the way, to get your free human design chart, all you have to do is go into the description below, click on my website, and then you can go ahead and get your free human design chart. It's personal. You can put that time, birth date, time, and place, all that information in. 5 weeks from now, on a different place in a different site, you will always get the same chart, because that chart is like a thumbprint. Your thumbprint is yours. There's not another thumbprint like it. It's the same thing with your human design chart, because it is an energetic blueprint. It is, I like to say, it's like an x-ray of your soul, of your spirit, of who you are energetically. So nobody else is going to have a chart exactly like yours. They may have some similarities, but they won't have one that's exactly like yours. All right, so I struggled at this point because I was excited about this human design chart, because first of all, when I went and had mine read, we were on a Zoom. She recorded it on a cassette tape, and I got it mailed to me. When she read my human design chart to me, and we went over certain patterns that had been going on in my life, all from my chart, she could tell me all these different things and times where I struggled at being understood for who I was and being misunderstood. She was able to cover these, and I mean, tears flowed, because I was like, this is amazing. I thought, is she psychic? But she's not. And that's the same thing that happens with people who, when I read their charts and we're talking about it, they're like, oh my gosh, that is spot on. How did you know that? It's in your chart. It's in your chart. So, but one of the struggles that I had with this is, and it might be something that you're struggling with also. And that was a question of, is it okay for me to explore and experience and receive help and even help others with human design? Is it okay with God? What does God think about this? And now I knew that there was man had said what he thought was okay with it, but I really wanted to go to the source, and I really wanted to know what God thought. So what I did was I took a self-cation to Colorado. I was really seeking answers. I was seeking answers as to what I should do as far as changing direction and leaving direct sales and going on with human design, because I had started to study it, um, to use it professionally to help other people. But I had that nagging, is it okay with God question in the back of my mind. And I really needed an answer to that. So I want you guys to make sure that you stick around, because at the end of this story, I'm going to share with you all 4 different points. There are many, many more, but just 4 points, 4 things that human can design can help you with in your life right now. And so I want to share those with you. So make sure you stick around to the end. All right. So I head over to Colorado, which is my favorite place. I love the mountains. I could spend forever in the mountains. It's where I feel closest to God. It's where I feel just energized. It's like I got plugged in, and I'm getting a boost. And so, it might be the same for you, or for you, it might be the ocean or the beach, or it might be the lake or camping. For all of us, it's different places. So I go to Colorado and I stayed at an Airbnb that happened to have something called a labyrinth, a prayer/meditation labyrinth outside. And they had pictures of it. I didn't even know what a labyrinth was, how you used it for meditation or how you used it for prayer. Labyrinths have been around for thousands of years. People have been using them for a long time. And they're actually found at churches. They're found at hospitals all across the US and in England and France and all these other places. I had no idea. So I thought, oh, wow, that's great. Some place to meditate and pray. I'm wanting some answers. This looks like it's going to be a great place, and it's in the mountains. So I go off. I'm staying at this beautiful Airbnb in the mountains, my favorite place. And I didn't know what a labyrinth was, but the owner of the Airbnb had a labyrinth coffee table book. So I take the coffee table book with me throughout my, days that I'm there. And I take it with me one of the days that I am at Pikes Peak. And while I'm in Pikes Peak, I stop off for lunch in the mountains, go up into the trees, sit down, read my book, and eat my lunch. In the middle of that, all of a sudden I hear this sound. It sounds like this, like 18-wheelers just roaring down the highway. And I'm thinking to myself, I know the highway is not behind me. What is going on? And this loud sound is all around me, and then it calms down. So it stops for a few minutes and then it starts back up again. And I'm thinking, what in the world is happening? So I start looking around. I'm like, what is going on? And then I realize that it's the leaves in the trees that's moving. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I've never experienced this before, because in Abilene, we don't have trees like that where the wind blows through and you hear that. There's not all these trees around to hear that. And certainly not in San Antonio, where I grew up. I didn't have that either. And so this was a first. So I went on, finished the book, went on with my day, and I had decided that the last day I was there the day before I left, that I would do my Labyrinth Walk. Now, by this time I'd finished the book. I had an idea what I was doing, and I wanted to communicate with God. Like, I wanted to get some answers for my direction, what I'm supposed to do, and how he felt about not only human design, but other things I had started to get introduced to, like crystals. And I thought, these are yours, God, you made these. How did you not put them here for our benefit, for us to interact with them energetically, right? I just had all these different questions. What's okay, what's not okay with him? And so I walked, through the whole labyrinth, and I got into the middle, and I told myself, because I can be impatient, and those people that know me know that that's true. I'm working on it, but I can be impatient. So I said to myself, Sylvia, you are not getting up from here until you get an answer. So I sat down and walked through the whole labyrinth, got to the middle, sat on the concrete bench, and closed my eyes. And I sat there for a while, and then I don't even know how long it was, but all of a sudden, like that, I was in a totally different place. It was dark. It was like being in a dream. It was vast, but it was dark. I didn't see anything, but I didn't feel like I was alone. I just knew that God or source or the universe, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. That's where I was. And so I said, how do I know what's okay with you and what's not okay with you? And the answer was immediate. And it was, I could hear the person talking, just like when you're remembering a conversation and you can hear the person's voice. It was the same way. So the voice said to me, trust the me in you. And I said, trust the me in you. And he said, trust the me in you. You have me inside of you, Sylvia. Trust the me in you. You will know what's good and what's not good. And I was just like, wow. So the next question that popped into my mind was, how do I know? And I said it in my mind. I didn't say it out loud there, but I said, how do I know when it's you or when it's me and just my mind saying that it's okay? How do I know? And how do I know that you're really there giving me the answers? And the response immediately was, Sylvia, how can you wonder if it's me? How can you wonder if I'm here with you? I brought you to your favorite place in the mountains, met with you in an Airbnb that's called the Sanctuary, with a labyrinth, a prayer labyrinth for us to have this time together. And I was with you in the wind yesterday on the mountains. And that is what floored me, that he was there in the wind. I hadn't even thought about that. And it was like this, something inside me was just like, this is, you're having a conversation with source. You're having a conversation with God. And it felt so good. So I had 4 different scenes that day. That was the first scene. And then it was like a viewfinder. It went on to the next scene. And there were 3 scenes, and I'll share those with you in future videos when it's the right time for the different lessons that were in each, because there was a lesson in each one of those scenes. I left the labyrinth, walked back out of it, ran into my cabin, and wrote down all the different scenes that I could remember in my journal. So I left there very clear in knowing what's okay and what's not. And I didn't feel like I needed to ask anybody else anymore. And I also knew what my path was and what direction I needed to head. And that's why I'm here. So I promised you guys that I was going to give you 4 points, 4 things that human design can help with. Now, remember, this is not an exhaustive list. There are way more than 4 points, but these are 4 points just to kind of leave you with so you'll know. The first one is understanding your purpose. Your purpose is not what you're here to do. It is who you're here to be. Who are you here to be? Who are you here to show up to as in the world? What is the energy and what are you here to bring to the world? That's what your purpose is. And that is actually found in your chart. And I cannot tell you the number of times I've shared that with people and they have started to cry because it resonated so deeply for them. And it's so beautiful. The next one is understanding your energetic blueprint. There is so much in there that talks about and shows you how you energetically work in situations, in different aspects of your life, in making decisions, in how you make decisions, how you are personally designed to make decisions. That energetic blueprint, what I like to call the X-ray of your soul, the X-ray of your spirit, is so unique and so powerful. The next one is it can help you in your relationships. Because your relationships are an energetic exchange between you and your spouse, you and your significant other, you and your children, you and your boss, you and your employees, you and your teammates, you and your neighbor. Because this is what we do, we exchange energy that way. that the human design chart helps you understand and improve your relationships exponentially. The fourth one is understanding your strengths and your shadow side. So we all have that yin and yang. We all have the light and the dark part of us, right? But really getting to understand those strengths and understand the shadow parts, and when they show up, what the flip side of that shadow side is. There's a flip side to it, and understanding that and being able to make the choice to change those around is priceless, priceless. And I love helping people with that. So I would love for you to look for those upcoming videos that are going to be coming up, and we're going to talk about what human design is. How can you use human design in your life? How can it serve you and help you to live a life with more flow and ease? Thanks for watching my video, and until next time, this is Sylvie Barone. I look forward to seeing you guys.